welcome back to She's At It Again. This morning we are going to be making a lemon pie, but we're going to kick it up just a little bit, add some sour cream to it, and get that ready for tomorrow's lunch because we're having guests over. Tomorrow's Mother's Day, and I wanted to make something kind of light and refreshing instead of heavy and filling. So I think this fits the bill, and even though this video will come out too late for this Mother's Day, I'm sure you'll find another reason to fix this and celebrate with a beautiful dessert. And we're going to use some honey to replace the sugar in, but I'll let you know how much sugar to use if you want to choose to go that route. But let's go back to that other side of the kitchen and get our pie crust ready. Now, I'm not going to be doing a tutorial during the pie crust. I'll just let you see how it's done because I have other videos where we show how to make the pie crust and I go into detail about why we do what we do. So we'll just let you take a look at that, enjoy the music, and then we'll get ready to make the pie filling. Okay, our pie crust is done. I'm about to get it out of the oven, but after I take it out, I'll show it to you, but I gotta get some sweet potatoes in the oven, so I gotta leave the oven on. Then we'll get something else going. Because if I have the oven on, I may as well use it for 2 things instead of just one. All right, this is what our crust looks like. Maybe you can hear the sizzling. Now this did bubble up. I had to get my great big spoon and just kind of lay on top of it, press all that air out of it. It was being unruly, but this will be fine to put our filling in. I don't think it'll be so much that it'll come over the edge, but who knows. All right, so we're gonna let this cool off. It has to be, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be cool. Our filling's gonna be hot, but we'll let it cool. But we'll let this cool at room temperature for a while. I'll get my other stuff together. We'll be right back. We'll make our filling on the stovetop. Over the stovetop now, we have our saucepan. I'm trying not to use my super shiny ones because my husband says it just washes out and you can't see anything that I'm doing, but I apologize. I don't have some big fancy something up here where it looks straight down on the pan. That'd be really fun, wouldn't it? So if anybody knows how I can do that, let me know. All right, first thing we're gonna do is take our 3 egg yolks, put them in our saucepan. Saucepan's not on yet. I want to get this stuff mixed up before I do anything else because I'm going with 2/3 of a cup of honey. I started to use coconut sugar, but you know, it's a lemon pie and it's going to be bright and pretty and yellow, but if I put coconut sugar in there, it'll taste great, but it'll look like trash. I mean, it will look like something bad in a pie shell. Just the dark color, it'd be like, you know, adding a lot of molasses to it or something. It would be brown and dirty looking. So I want it to be a pretty color, so we're going to go with the honey. It'll be a little bit darker than if you use sugar. If you're going to go ahead and use conventional sugar, use a full cup of sugar. But I would say for a better choice, go with an unbleached sugar. There's a brand called Zulka that you can buy in the store. It's spelled Z-U-L-K-A. And it is not bleached. It is pure cane sugar, it's non-GMO, and it is not bleached like your conventional white sugar would be. If you didn't know it, white sugar is bleached. All right, I'm just gonna get my egg yolks and my sugar, or my honey, sorry, this is not sugar. My honey stirred up. And I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda to this since it's honey. If you're just using conventional sugar, don't add the baking soda to it, but I want to put just a little over 1/4 of a teaspoon in there. They say if you replace sugar with honey, then you can add baking soda to it and it will help with the acidity level. So we'll see. I may not ever be able to tell the difference, but that's okay. I'm just following directions. They didn't necessarily say that in this recipe. I did some research on another spot, and that's what they were saying about converting recipes to honey. All right, I'm also going to add 3½ tablespoons of cornstarch. This is organic cornstarch. I would say definitely invest the money in organic cornstarch. If not, it's more than likely GMO. But if you don't care anything about that, use whatever kind you have. I'm just here to provide some better choices if you're interested in that. But also, good recipes. These just taste good. I'm not ever going to show you a video of something that tastes yucky. I'm just not going to do it. I wrote a cookbook years ago. It's the only claim to fame I have in my little small town. And I was talking to one of my older friends and she said, "What are you thinking about naming it?" And I said, "You know, I'm thinking about naming it Nothing Yucky because I would never put a yucky recipe in there." And she put her hand on my shoulder. She's so sweet. She goes, "Oh, honey, don't call it that. That wouldn't be good." I said, "I'm just kidding." But I named it Cartwheels in the Kitchen. She was beside herself thinking I was really going to name it that.
All right, got my cornstarch mixed in there, and this is a cup of whole milk. I'm going to go ahead and turn my burner on. We don't want to turn it up too high because you don't want it to cook too fast, simply because you have those egg yolks in there and it will do a scrambling mess. So you want to cook it high enough to where it's going to thicken after a while. You don't want it to take forever, but at the same time, you don't want to get it so high that it scorches or scrambles your egg mixture. I'm just trying to get most of this honey off my spatula, and I'm going to switch over to a small whisk. Now this is a lemon pie, so we're going to add some lemon zest, or grated lemon peel is what mine is, and it's the same thing. But I keep mine in this is a plastic jar, but I keep mine in the freezer. Anytime I buy organic lemons, I try to use every part of it that I possibly can. So I'm going to use the juice out of it, obviously. That's normally what you buy lemons for, but the lemon peel is the first thing I do when I buy the lemons. I'm getting ready to extract the juice out of them, but I will take them and scrub them real good on the outside because, I mean, people touch them in the store. Anybody that thinks produce isn't dirty has never, ever stood back and watched people in the supermarket. Everybody's going to touch it, including the produce guy, and his hands might be spotlessly clean, but customers are not. They're going to touch them. You're going to scan it across the checkout counter. That has germs all over it, so don't use produce without washing it, especially if you're using the outside of it. So get your zester, zest all the lemons, and then you proceed with juicing the lemons at that point. Don't think you're going to get the zest off of them after you juice them. That would be, yeah, that wouldn't be a fun process. I'm going to need a tablespoon. Let me check the recipe back here. Make sure. Yeah, a tablespoon of lemon zest, which sounds like a lot, but this is kind of a tart pie. I've made this before, and I remember it being really, really good, but I also remember it being really, really pretty. And again, this stays in my freezer. I have one that says, where you can say this, see if you can see it there. It says lemon peel. Well, it doesn't want to focus on, there you go. Lemon peel. O is for organic. Organic lemon peel. I have lemon peel, I have orange zest, I have lime zest, and I have something else in my freezer I can't remember. So just at a glance, I can pull out the drawer in the freezer and see the label on top and know which one I want. I also have a full cup. No, I take that back. Not a full cup. Not a cup. Do not put a cup in there. Half a cup of lemon juice, not from concentrate. This is real lemon juice. Actually, it's Santa Cruz brand. It's from a bottle, but you get what I'm saying. It's not that thing in the plastic lemon that you squeeze out. That's not a good idea. This actually tastes really good. So lemon juice goes in, and then we're just going to cook this until it gets thick. And then we'll add a couple more ingredients to it. Okay, I know it's starting to get thick because I can see little bubbles. They kind of look a little bit like bubble wrap on the top of the surface of the mixture. Before it was just kind of that just foamy looking thing. I kept looking at it honestly and going, okay, I know I've made this before. This did get thick, didn't it? But I haven't made it with honey before, so I was thinking this may not actually proceed as, as I thought it would. But it's getting thick. It just takes so long. When you're staring at a pan thinking, come on, it just takes so long. But when you use cornstarch, normally it's not one of those gradually gets thick. It's almost like it's completely runny, and then you see some bubbles, and then all of a sudden it's thick. Take it off the burner, hurry up. So I have to be cautious about that. A lot of pie fillings, you'll add flour, like all-purpose flour, just plain flour, and cornstarch. But this one just has cornstarch. So it might get thick quick. I always say you know it's getting thick when you stir it real briskly like this with a whisk, and when you pull the whisk out, it stops, and then kind of the circle motion kind of stops and bounces back. You know it's going in the right direction. That's how I know when my ice cream mixture, if I'm making an ice cream base, that's how I know it's thick enough, is I whisk it real fast, and then I pull the whisk out, and it stops moving in that motion. Normally a clockwise motion is how I stir generally, and it kind of bounces back. So that's a good sign. Now you don't want to overcook this since it is thickened with cornstarch, because cornstarch, it will get thick, and then if you overcook it, it will lose its thickening capability and it'll go back to just completely runny. You'll think, I thought I added something to this to thicken it up. And it's not that you didn't add to it, it's just it reached its maximum and then it let go. So get it thick and then take it off the heat. Okay, I'm going to turn my burner off, and we're going to add our butter to it. I have 4 tablespoons of butter right here. This is unsalted butter. Move that off the burner right there. To this day, I still doubt myself whenever I get something to this point. I look at it and go, did I cook it long enough? I don't know. Maybe it's going to be runny. And sometimes they are. Sometimes the pies are runny, but you know what? Guests get a good laugh out of it. I get a good laugh about it. I don't get my feelings hurt when something's just a total flop at the dinner table. I'm like, I'll pull something else out of the cabinet or out of the pantry. It doesn't matter. But I want people to know I make legitimate, really bad mistakes in cooking so many times. I mean, it's laughable, but you just can't get yourself down on it and go, that's it, I'm never cooking again. Just keep trying. You just never know. But like I said, I've never used honey in this pie recipe before, so it might be a total fault. We might be dipping it out with a spoon, but you know what? That crust is going to be fabulous, and this is going to be some good runny mixture on top of it. So I don't even care. I hope it holds together, but if it's not sliceable, it's okay. It's edible. I know it's edible. Okay, our butter is melted, and I'm going to add our 1 cup of sour cream to it, because after all, it's lemon sour cream pie. Or sour cream. Did I say sour cream? Yeah, sour cream lemon pie. Got it backwards. I have mint growing in my yard. I have chocolate mint and I have spearmint growing in my yard in a couple of places, deliberately, not by accident. I actually planted it there. I have it in pots. But I thought about maybe putting fresh raspberries on the top of this because I have some raspberries in the fridge. And I thought the yellow and the red would look pretty, but putting mint leaves alongside it, because I don't mind decorating things with something like, you know, a lemon slice or something like that, but nobody in their right mind is going to pull that lemon slice off and eat it. You're just not going to do it. But you can always put the mint in your drink, or you can, you know, obviously eat the raspberries. I mean, I'd probably eat the raspberries before I'd eat the piece of pie. But I like having edible things on top of a pie. Now, I'll tell you what would be pretty is if I had fresh blueberries. I have gallons and gallons of frozen blueberries. I don't have any fresh blueberries though, but real pretty fresh blueberries with that, you know, that white frost that they have on them, that kind of a matte coating on them. Have those, and then either stevia leaves or mint leaves alongside it, so that blue and yellow, because this pie is going to be pretty yellow. Oh, that would be so, so pretty. But I don't have any blueberries, so I'm just going to suck it up and go with the raspberries. I'm also going to put whipped cream on this. I have my glass container and my mixer beater in the refrigerator right now chilling, because that's the key to getting really good whipped cream fast. It's having all of your bowls and beaters super cold before you put your heavy cream in the bowl. Now I'll sweeten it with a little bit of honey and some vanilla. And then we'll put our raspberries on the edge or on top of that. But we have to let this cool off just a bit, then I'll put it in the crust. We'll stick it in the fridge and let it chill for a while. We have to go somewhere this evening, so I'll probably make my whipped cream to put on top of this later, or if I have time before we, well, no, I'll probably have time before we leave to go to something else tonight. They're having a celebration for one of our friends here graduating from high school, and we're supposed to attend that, but hopefully this will cool off in time for me to finish the pie and video that before we go. Okay, that's thickened up pretty nicely. This is what it looks like. All right, gonna let this chill. I'm not gonna put it in the refrigerator. I got too many things in there it'll have a nasty fight with because that's hot. Everything in my fridge is cold and I don't wanna work it over. But I'll just leave this out to let it cool to room temperature, and then we'll put it in our crust. Maybe I'll make the whipped cream in a bit and video that. We'll see. We'll be back in just a bit.
Sorry to interrupt the view of the cute dog. Okay, continuing on. This is our filling, and I'll let you see how jiggly it is. Just shaking it. So I think it's going to work out fine. It's still a little bit warm, but I want to go ahead and put it in here. Oh, that almost went over the edge, didn't it? All right. So this is just the pie part. You got that? Now we're going to make some whipped cream. Let's get this out of the way. This obviously has been in the refrigerator, but this has been in the refrigerator as well. I don't want to touch it any more than I have to because my hands are warm, and this needs to stay super cold. Oops. Girls, move on. Move on. All right, I'm only going to put about a half a cup in here because it will increase in size a lot. I'm also going to put a tiny bit of vanilla in there. It has lots of vanilla seeds in it though. All right, now we're going to beat this till it's light and fluffy. Okay, that's not the end of it. Got to add some honey to it. Not a lot of honey, but just enough to give it a tiny bit of sweetness.
This is what our heavy cream looks like. Nice and thick. And there's about a cup of it in here now, so it about doubled in size. I'm just debating, of course, while I have the camera on, I'm debating on whether or not to actually put the heavy cream on here. That's really good. What I'd really like to do is chill the pie first, then put these two together. So that's what I'm going to do. Turn the cameras off. I'm going to feed the dogs, possibly walk the dogs, come back, and then we'll finish this up in just a bit, because I don't want this to deflate because this is too warm, just for the sake of getting it all done. So we'll do it right. We'll be right back. All right, we have our pie, and it is cooled off, a lot cooler than what it was. So I'm just going to take the whipped cream. I see all those vanilla bean specks in this. I don't know if you can see them from there. It's got lots of specks in it. Okay, this is not very whippy. It kind of deflated just from it being so warm in the house. This may look like shaving cream on here. Who knows? Now, obviously you can tell I'm not piping this on. That's not the look I'm going for. Just want something in the very center. And then I just have a few raspberries. And these are the mint leaves I was talking about. These are just from my yard. And there's our finished product. Hey guys, thanks for joining us and making our sour cream lemon pie. I hope you give this a try, and maybe you can enjoy more videos on my channel, particularly the one that goes into detail about making this particular pie crust. This is a pure butter and sour cream pie crust. So lots of sour cream in this story today. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. Recipes in the description. Bye.